Anacephalaeosis III. Here also are the contents of the third section of the first volume, which contains 13 sects. Marcosians. A certain Marcus was Colorbasus' fellow student, and he too introduces two first principles. He denies the resurrection of the dead and initiates his female dupes by creating some sort of illusions with chalices, which are turned dark blue and purple by incantation. Like Valentinus, he too holds that everything is made up of the 24 sounds of the alphabet. Colorbasus. Colorbasus likewise describe the same things, but differ from some of the other sects, I mean those of Marcus and Valentinus, and taught the emanations and octaves differently. Heracleonites. Two are carried away with the mythology of the Orthodox, but differently from Marcus, Ptolemy, Valentinus, and the others. Moreover, like Marcus, they redeemed the dying members at the end with oil, balsam, and water, and pronounced certain Hebrew invocations over the head of the one being supposedly redeemed, of which the person who honor the serpent and regard him as Christ, and have an ritual snake, the familiar reptile, and a basket of some sort. Candidates who, together with their predecessors, similarly repudiate the law, and the one who spoke in the law denied the resurrection of the flesh and honor king, saying that he belongs to the stronger power. But together with him they also David Judas, together with the company of Korah, Datan, Abiram, and the son of his besides, Sedians. This in turn honor Seth, and claim that he is the child of the Mother on High, who repented of having emitted Cain, and then, after the banishment of Cain and the killing of Abel, had congress with the Father on High, and, as a pure seed, bare Seth, from whom all humanity was then derived. They too taught about first principles and authorities, and all the doctrines the other taught. Archontics. This, in turn, traces the universe to make archons and say that all that has come to be has come from them, and they are also guilty from certain shameful behavior. They reject the resurrection of the flesh and slander the Old Testament, but they use both the Old and the New Testaments to the hand of every saying to suit themselves. Chalcedonians, founded by Chalcedon, who got his share of the impostor and succession from Heracleon, but added to the deceit. He moved from Syria to Rome and preached his doctrine during the episcopate of Hyginus. He declares that two first principles are in opposition to one another, and that Christ is not begotten. He likewise repudiates the resurrection of the dead of the Old Testaments. Marcionites. Marcion of Pontus was the son of a bishop, but he seduced a virgin and went into exile because he was excommunicated by his own father. Arriving at Rome, he asked for finance from the elder of the time. Since he could not get it, he grew angry and taught doctrines contrary to the faith by introducing the first principles, a good, a just, and an evil, and saying that the New Testament is foreign to the Old and to the one who spoke in it. He rejects the resurrections. He rejects the resurrection of the flesh and administers not just one baptism, but even two and three after lapses into sin. When catechumens die, other Masonists are baptized for them. He unhesitatingly allows one woman to administer supposed baptism. Lucianist, a Nazian Lucian, though not the modern one who was born in Constantine's time, taught doctrines in all respects like Marcion's, but he too, if you please, had further doctrines different from Marcion's. Apelians. These appeals too, like Marcion and Lucian, disparages all of creation and the Creator. But unlike them, he did not teach the three first principles, but one first principle and one God, supernal and unnamable, and that the one God had made other, and this God who had been made turned out to be bad, and in his badness made the world. Severians. A certain Severus in turn, a follower of Apelles, rejects wine, and the vine relates the myth that it was born of the dragon like Satan and Earth, who had relations with each other. He rejects woman, claiming that she belongs to the to the left-hand power. He introduces certain names and of archons as well as certain uncanonical books, like the other sects. He rejects the resurrection of the flesh and, and the Old Testament. Tatianis. Tatian flourished in company with the holy martyr Justin, who was also a philosopher, but after Justin, this martyr and philosopher died. Tatian unfortunately became acquainted with Marcion's doctrines, was instructed by him, and brought out the same doctrines as he, and added others besides his. He is said to have come from Mesopotamia. This will summarize the three sections of Volume 1, containing 40 sects.